What up, meal prepsters? It's Bobby, and today we're gonna do a budget meal prep that appeals to all my fellow penny pinchers out there. But we're gonna make it healthy, we're gonna make it delish, we're gonna make it easy, but it's gonna be easy on the old wallet, because we are making spice-crusted grilled chicken thighs with a sour orange glaze. Homemade hummus that is so easy to make and so creamy and delicious. And my take on a tabouli salad with kale, parsley, and millet. So if you guys love my meal prep recipes and want to join the Flav Sydney community, subscribe to my channel below. I have new videos every Friday hooking you guys up. In front of me, I have 10 boneless, skinless chicken thighs, which are so much cheaper than boneless, skinless chicken breast and have so much flavor. And what I did, I had my butcher split them in half, kind of like Michonne would do a walker right in half with her samurai sword. That's what you want to do. And make sure you ask your butcher to do this for you. It'll save you a little bit of work later on. And if you're a loyal Flav City fan, you know this is just about the time we make a spice rub, starting with two of my favorite spices ever. What is it? Smoked paprika and cumin in front of me. I have 1 teaspoon each that adds so much flavor, especially the smoked paprika. To that, I'm gonna add half a teaspoon of coriander and a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. And now you're saying, what? Did that guy just put cinnamon in his spice rub? Yes, a little bit of those dessert spices in a savory application just tickle my taste buds in all the right places. Try it, you'll thank me later. So go ahead and just give this a quick little mix up. Before I dust the chicken with some of the spice rub, I'm gonna hit it with a generous pinch of salt and add a little more salt than you think you need because the chicken is bland and the salt actually brings out the chicken flavor even more. Then a generous pinch of spice rub. Let's flip it over and add a little more salt and spice rub. And in case you guys didn't hear me the first 100 times, the reason why I love dry rubs is they add no additional fat, but a ton of flavor. More flavor and more impact than a wet marinade. And the wet marinade is gonna have oil, so it's gonna add additional fat. So I'm team dry 100% of the time. Now let us turn to the Flav City commandments of cooking. Commandment number 1, thou should not putteth thy chicken in a hot pan or hot oven when it's cold. The reason why, it's gonna cook unevenly and be tough. What I do is put it aside for 20 minutes. It'll come to room temperature, plus that spice rub is gonna show that chicken who's boss and really infuse a lot of flavor. While that's doing its thing, we can make our sour orange glaze. Add 1 cup of OJ to a pot, and then grab my tub o' honey that my Bulgarian mother-in-law sends. This stuff is legit. I'm gonna add about 2 heaping tablespoons in here. This has gotta be a fall batch, judging by its dark amber color. If there's a lime involved, you know Bobby is gonna zest it first, so zest the lime in the pot. Cut the lime in half, and we'll add the juice of 1 lime too. So these lime and citrus juicers are a lifesaver. I'll put a link to this one down in the description box over on Amazon. I use them all the time. Then slice a couple pieces of ginger here, maybe about 1.5 inches piece, and add that to the pot. So I'm gonna add a tiny pinch of red pepper flakes. And then finally, a tiny pinch of salt. So let's give this guy a mix up. We'll bring it to a simmer and we'll cook it for about 20 to 25 minutes until it reduces. It's thick and syrupy and glazy. Then we'll paint it on our grilled chicken thighs later on. Let's quickly make the hummus because it takes no time flat, plus all the work is done in the food processor or blender. Honestly, the key to bomb.com homemade hummus is chickpeas, but not canned chickpeas. Dried chickpeas that you soak overnight in water and then boil for about 45 minutes or 1 hour. Yes, it does really make a difference. These guys that are soaked and boiled are so much more creamy, so much more tasty. Plus, the stuff in the can, in a pinch, okay, but it's soaked in what I call fart water. All the liquid in here is starchy fart water, and it may make you smell a little unpleasant. Soak them, it's gonna be 100 times better. So add 2.5 cups of cooked chickpeas to the processor. And then have you guys ever used this stuff? It's tahini. Basically, it's the peanut butter equivalent of sesame seed. It is rich and nutty, a little bitter, and I love this stuff. Let's scoop about 1/4 cup of tahini into the food processor. And then my favorite trick for breaking down garlic is don't even peel it, don't even chop it. Just take my favorite tool, the microplane zester here. And then what happens is the paper stays on this side, and then on the other side, just the grated fleshy garlic comes through, and pop it in the food processor. Let's continue in the zesting spirit with the zest of 1 lemon and the juice of half a lemon. About 1/2 teaspoon of salt goes in, a few cracks of pepper, And then totally optional is I'm adding about a teaspoon of paprika. You can use smoked or sweet. You could also use a little bit of cumin. It's gonna add a nice kick to the hummus. Pop the lid on the food processor and then throw it on high. And then stop the machine. Everything's really chunky right now, but this is the time to stream in about 2 to 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil or just regular olive oil if that's all you got. And then put the machine on again. Now check this out. Look inside this machine, see how it's really dry and clumpy? That means we need moisture. And because I boiled my own chickpeas, I saved some of the starchy boiling water. This stuff is culinary gold. It's gonna loosen up our hummus, but it's not gonna dilute the flavor. So throw about 1 or 2 tablespoons in to start. And whatever you do, don't add the starchy fart water from your canned chickpeas. It's gonna completely ruin the flavor and texture of your hummus. Then turn the machine on again. There we go, look inside that machine. Now it's getting really nice and creamy. Now it's time for my favorite part, checking for seasoning. I guarantee it's gonna need a little more salt or lemon juice. The flavor is awesome, it's so creamy, but definitely a little more salt and a big old squeeze of lemon juice. And then at the end right now is when I like to add a little pinch of fresh parsley. If you put it in the beginning, it's gonna be blended too much and make everything green. This way it's kind of just marbled or flecked all throughout. And then slap the lid on and give it one last buzz up. Now it's perfect. And I know we normally always buy store-bought hummus, but taking the extra step and making homemade is where it's at. You guys are gonna love that. Finally, it is time to get this chicken in a hot pan, but first, check out that spice rub. Did I tell you it was gonna get in there and do its business? I've been preheating my pan for 2 minutes so it's nice and hot. So when I put the chicken in, it should make a nice sizzly, kind of happy noise. Perfect. So if you don't have a grill pan at home, you can totally use a cast iron pan, a steel pan, or a non-stick. The reason why I like this guy, it kind of gives a charred smoky flavor and it brings those outdoor summer barbecue flavors into the kitchen in the wintertime. If you guys want to get one, I'll put a link down in the description box below. Then I have a second cast iron pan going back here because this guy is full. So let me load that up. Now the reason why I had the butcher go all Michonne from Walking Dead on these guys is because I want it to be kind of like a kebab or like street food you would get over a hot open fire. And I just think it's kind of fun like that, but you can do whole chicken thighs too. It works totally fine. So while the chicken is cooking, you gotta get up in this pot because this glaze is looking sticky and perfect. You can see all those little flecks of lime zest in there. It's nice and syrupy. So while the chicken finishes cooking, let's make my tabouli salad, which is Bobby's take on tabouli. It's very loosely interpreted. My wife even said that's not tabouli salad, but when she tasted it, she said, dang, that's tabouli salad. This is how you do it. Give one bunch of parsley a haircut. That way you get rid of the big stems. Roll up the leaves like a cigar, nice and tight. That way your knife blade goes through as many leaves as possible. Finely chop it and add it to a bowl. Finely chop 1/3 a bunch of kale, stems removed, and add that to the bowl too. Add half a cup of millet to 1 cup of boiling water, along with a pinch of salt, and cook it for 20 minutes. Allow it to cool down to room temperature and add that to the bowl. Next up, go in with 3 tablespoons of green onions that are finely sliced, a 1/4 cup of seedless cucumbers that are chopped, 2 tablespoons of walnuts that are chopped and toasted, and half a red bell pepper that's finely diced. To season the salad, add the zest of 1 lemon, the juice of 1 lemon, half a teaspoon of salt, a couple cracks of fresh pepper, and 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Give it a big mix up and you're done. All right, my loose interpretation of tabouli is poppin'. The parsley is so fresh, the walnuts are crunchy, and here's the deal with millet. It's a gluten-free whole grain. I thought it'd be fun to kind of mix it up because I use quinoa all the time, but you can totally use quinoa, couscous, whole wheat couscous, or even brown rice in this recipe. It's gonna be perfect. All right, it's been about 6 minutes. Let's check our chicken. Yes, yes, my friends. Those are grill marks. Another beauty of using the grill pan is you don't have to add any oil to the pan. So that means less fat in the macros, so it's definitely better for you also. Now during the last 2 minutes of the cooking process, that's when things get glazed and sticky. So use a brush, dip it in your sour orange glaze, and just go to town and paint it on those chicken thighs. Ooh. You only want to do this at the end because our glaze is full of sugar and it's gonna burn if we cook it for too long. So I'm just gonna put it on the top side, give it a quick flip, One more baste and then it's done. Let's kill the heat on the pan and get these beauty looking thighs out of here. You get the last piece of glazed chicken in there, and come on guys, is that a winner chicken dinner or what? Glass meal prep containers, check. Literal smorgasbord of healthy, delicious, and budget-friendly meal prep, check. Let's grab some of this chicken, tuck it in my container, and then paint it with a little glaze. You can also use it as a dipping sauce all throughout the week, which I highly recommend. And then a nice big scoop of my tabouli salad, and then some of the hummus. Perfect. All of my meal prep containers are done, and if that does not get you excited about eating healthy food, I don't know what will. In the spirit of street food, I'm gonna grab this chicken with my fingers. Mama told me not to talk with my mouth full, but I can't wait because that spice crust is creating so much flavor. The chicken thighs are so juicy and tender, and that sour orange glaze on top, that is life. It's so good. Now for the part you've all been waiting for, the cost. The cost per meal is $3.20, which is pretty epic considering the quality of ingredients in here and the nutrition and flavor you're getting. Now let's talk about the storage and heating, which is super important. For the chicken, it can stay in the fridge for up to 5 days. When you want to eat it, just pop it in the microwave, or what I do and much prefer is wrap the container in tin foil, heat it in a 400-degree oven for 10 to 15 minutes, or you can stash the chicky wawa in the freezer for 2 to 3 months. The tabouli salad cannot be frozen, but you can keep it in the fridge for 5 days, but don't heat it up. Either eat it room temperature or cold. And the hummus cannot be frozen either, but it can stay in the fridge for up to 7 days, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna eat it before that because it's so darn good. There it is, guys, meal prep on a budget. I think you're gonna love it. I think your wallet is gonna love it. If you want the recipe, it's below in the description box. Check it out. Subscribe to my channel. New meal preps every Friday coming at you. If you wanna see 2 more healthy, delicious meal prep recipes, check out the videos below me, but I'll see you next Friday morning like I always do. Hashtag keep on cooking. Peace out, y'all.